With the halfway point of the 2025 NASCAR Cup Series season this week, I figured this would be a good time to rank how every full-time driver is doing this 2025 season. Let's start out with Ross Chastain. He deserves an A tier because of his amazing victory at the Coca-Cola 600, along with 3 top 5 finishes and 8 top 10s. Ross a championship contender, so don't count the driver of the one car out. Next, we move on to Austin Cindric. Austin gets a B tier with only having 1 top 5 and 4 top 10s. However, that doesn't take away from his victory at Talladega during the spring. He is running phenomenal in the 2 car, but still has improvement. Austin Dillon gets a D tier for a lackluster performance at Richard Childers Racing. He does have 3 top 10s that put him above an F tier, but this team needs work as they are not performing how they should. Noah Gragson is up next and he also gets a D tier. His recent performances have not been stellar. However, he does have 6 top 20s, and Front Row Motorsports, a competitive team, leading me to believe that Noah Gragson is not helping them perform how they should be. Kyle Larson is the first S-tier driver of the video. He has 3 wins and 9 top 5s, and although he is on a rough stretch after his heartbreak at the Coke 600 and the Indy 500, this team has amazing speed at the start of the year, and you can't take away from what they did. Brad Keselowski, driver of the 6 car for Roush Fenway Keselowski Racing, gets a C tier. His recent performances have not been great. However, I do see a possible resurgence with him having 2 top 5s and 4 top 10s this season. With the second place finish at Atlanta, I believe he has a chance to make the playoffs if he can somehow find himself in victory lane, which is not impossible. Next up is Justin Haley in the 7 car, and he gets an F tier. This car and team has been horrible, with only 1 top 10 in this entire 18-race season. Spire Motorsports is becoming a better team every year, and I believe that if Haley wants a ride in this car next year, he needs to step up his game in these final 18 races by finding victory lane or possibly even just some top 5. Next up is Kyle Busch in the 8 car, and he gets a D tier. He has 1 top 5 this year, but 5 top 10s, and although it feels like he has been running terrible there, he has had some good races. However, the track he has the most speed at is Daytona, and that is not where you want to rely on to get a race win from. The 8 car is a good team, and I don't know why they are underperforming this year or last year. Driver of the 9 car for Hendrick Motorsports, Chase Elliott, and he gets an A tier. Last week's winner at Atlanta, and he is now locked into the playoffs. He has been on a rough stretch of races since the start of the year. However, all you need is 1 win, and he has that along with 6 top 5 finishes. Driver of the 10 car for Calling Racing, Ty Dillon, gets a C tier. He has not been horrible this year. This team last year was struggling for decent finishes, and Ty is transforming this team. Although they sit 31st in points and have goose eggs in the win and top 5 columns, they have 7 top 20s and a 22.8 average finish. And to all of you Denny Hamlin fans, he beat your favorite driver in the first round of the in-season tournament. Back to Denny Hamlin, he gets an S tier. What can I say? He has 3 wins and 8 top 5 finishes. His recent victory came from Michigan International Speedway, in which he skipped the race before Michigan because his wife was having a baby. Denny Hamlin can take a week off from racing and then come back and win. This team is championship worthy if they can make it to Final 4. Next up is Ryan Blaney, and he gets B tier. That was a great win at Nashville, and he can now go contend for a second championship. What gives Blaney a B tier, though, instead of an A tier, is his 6 DNFs at the start of the year. You can't win a race if you aren't in it. He has 7 top 5 finishes, however, but Blaney is not where he was last year or the year before that. AJ Allmendinger is up next, and he also gets a B tier. He sits 17th in the standings with 10 top 20 finishes and a 19.8 average finish. This team and driver keeps getting better every race, and I look to see him have a chance to win one of the next road course races or sneak into a playoffs on points. Chris Buescher is getting an A tier. He has been so close to winning after a 9th place finish at Atlanta, a 4th place finish at Pocono, and a runner-up at Michigan. This team has been running consistent recently with 10 top 10 finishes this season. He sits 9th in the standings, currently behind Ross Chastain, and I look to see him in victory lane soon, the way he is performing. Chase Briscoe, driver of the 20 car for Joe Gibbs Racing, gets an S tier. He has 6 top 5 finishes and 8 top 10 finishes, along with a win at Pocono 2 weeks ago. Truthfully, I was unsure how this 19 team would run without the veteran Martin Truex Jr. behind the wheel, but Briscoe's surprise win at Darlington last year proved he had some magic and that he could win. With the win at Pocono, he's now locked into a playoffs this year. He currently sits 10th in the standings, so don't count Chase Briscoe out when you look at drivers to win it all. Driver of the 20 car for Joe Gibbs Racing, Christopher Bell, gets an S tier. Christopher Bell won the 2nd race of the year, the 3rd race of the year, and the 4th race of the year. Along with those 3 consecutive wins, he has 11 top 10 finishes this year. With an average finish of 12.1, Christopher Bell is a threat to win any race. Josh Berry, driver of the 21 car for Wood Brothers Racing, gets a B tier. He won his first race in the Cup Series this year at Las Vegas Motor Speedway during the spring. Ever since, he has been a contender. He has 8 top 20 finishes during the season, along with leading 169 laps. What makes Josh Berry not get an A tier, though, is his average finish of 21.0. And for a team like this and the potential he has, this is below what they should be doing. I expect their playoff run to be long this year, especially since they're already locked in and have time to prepare. Next up is the reigning champion, driver of the 22 car for Team Penske, Joey Logano, and he gets a B tier as well. Joey Logano locked himself into a playoffs with a win at Texas Motor Speedway not too long ago. However, the reigning champion only has 4 top 10 finishes and an average finish of 17.9. The 3-time champion, in my opinion, is underperforming this season, as a champion needs to be good year-round. And until they can turn that data around, I don't see him as a 4-time champion. Driver of the 23 car for 2311 Racing is Bubba Wallace, and he gets a D tier. Bubba Wallace has 3 top 5s, which isn't great, but what really drops him to a B tier is his 6 DNFs. Like I said earlier, you have to be in the race to have a shot to win it all, and it feels like he's always wrecking. He could easily get a surprise victory in the next few weeks, and he is running right on the cut line, being 13th in the standings, but I currently don't see him making the playoffs the way he is running. Last year's and this year's Daytona 500 winner, William Byron, gets an A tier. Byron has a 12.8 average finish and 7 top 5 finishes this year. Byron is always a front runner and a tough competitor on the track everywhere they go. He currently leads the standings, and I see no reason why he shouldn't. My only reason I didn't put him in S tier is I feel like his recent finishes have been lackluster. But don't count out William Byron for a championship run. Todd Gilliland is up next, and he gets a D tier. The 34 car team for Front Row Motorsports is having a year that I could not have imagined. They currently have goose eggs in the categories of top 5s and wins, but they do have 2 top 10s. They sit 28th in the standings and are in a must-win scenario. The team has flipped for the worse ever since Michael McDowell left. At the super speedways, Todd Gilliland tends to run the best, so look out for him at the Daytona Summer Race to see if he can maybe punch his tickets to play off there. Next up is Riley Hurst, who drives the 35 car for 2311 Racing. He gets an F tier. He currently sits second to last in the playoff standings in front of Cody Ware. Riley Hurst has no wins, no top 5s, or top 10 finishes this season. He currently has an average finish of 25.9, and I feel like the only thing Riley Hurst has done this year is run at the back of the field or wreck. Next up is Zane Smith, and he gets a C tier. Although he only has 3 top 10s, he is the highest in the standings for Front Row Motorsports, sitting in 25th. He has an average finish of 19.6 and is performing above expectations for what the team should be. Cole Custer drives the 41 car for Haas Factory Team, and he gets an F tier. He currently sits 34th in the standings and only has one top 10 this year. This team is severely underperforming and, in my opinion, poses no threat to the playoffs. John Hunter Nemechek gets a C tier. He has 6 top 10 finishes and a single top 5 finish. He sits 23rd in the points and has a 19.1 average finish. He has been on a great stretch of races and is a dark horse to win any race this year. They started slow, but they are on a hot streak that begs the question of when the first win will come. Eric Jones is up next and he gets a B tier. He has 12 top 20 finishes and seems like he is running better every race. He currently sits 17th in the standings and has an 18.4 average finish. This team is thriving and is definitely a playoff contender if they can make it in on points. Tyler Reddick gets an A tier. The driver of the 45 is not at his best right now since he has no wins. However, he does have 4 top 5 finishes and 6 top 10 finishes. He has a current average finish of 14.9 and sits 6th in the playoff standings. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., who drives the 47 car for Hayek Motorsports, gets a C tier. He sits 21st in the standings and only has 3 top 10 finishes. However, he does have an 18.9 average finish. He is currently on the outside looking in for a playoffs, but he is elevating this team to something they haven't been in a while. Alex Bowman, driver of the 48 car for Hendrick Motorsports, and he gets a B tier. He has 4 top 5 finishes and 9 top 10 finishes and sits 12th in the standings. He has led 157 laps this year and has a 17.9 average finish. This team won the Chicago Street Race last year, locked themselves in the playoffs, and I think a win is definitely around the corner for his team. Cody Ware is up next, and he gets an F tier. He currently sits in last place in the standings, and his best finish this year was 13th. Unfortunately, the Rick Ware Racing 51 will never be a championship level with Cody Ware behind the wheel, as he has just struggled to get a good finish in this new car with this team. Ty Gibbs drives the 54 car for Joe Gibbs Racing, and he gets a C tier. He has 2 top 5 finishes and sits 23rd in the standings. Combine that with some good runs in the past few weeks after having a 14th place finish at Atlanta and Pocono, along with a 3rd place finish at Michigan. Ty Gibbs will now have Chris Gabehart working with his team for the final half of the season, and with that combination of experience and the great car he is in, he should have a good chance to find victory lane before the playoffs. Ryan Preece drives the 60 car for Roush Fenway Keselowski Racing, and he gets a B tier. He currently sits 15th in the standings and has a 7 top 10 finishes, along with a 17.8 average finish. This car started off with really fast speed and has not gone away, as every single week I feel like there's a chance for him to win. Michael McDowell, who drives the 71 car for Spire Motorsports, gets a D tier. He sits 22nd in the standings and only has 2 top 10 finishes this year. Combine that with a 19.2 average finish, and he is running just below average. Michael McDowell ran really good last year at Front Row Motorsports, and I expected that to carry over to Spire. However, it is not being shown and he looks to be running worse. Carson Hocevar, who drives the 77 car for Spire Motorsports, gets an A tier. He currently sits 16th in the standings and has 2 top 5 finishes and 4 top 10 finishes, in which he got 2nd place at Nashville Superspeedway. This car and team shows tremendous speed every week, however luck has not been in their favor as he has 4 DNFs. Carson is a bold 22-year-old driver, and I expect to see him in victory lane with the speed he is having. Next up is the driver of the 88 car for Trackhouse Racing, Shane Van Gisbergen. I put him in A tier because he is running good and is locked into the playoffs after his win at the inaugural Mexico City race. He also has 6 top 20 finishes, and I feel like he is slowly improving on the ovals, but he has definitely got some work to do. Finally, it ends off with the driver of the 99 car, Daniel Suarez, for Trackhouse Racing, and he gets a D tier. He currently sits 29th in the standings and only has one top 5 finish, which was a runner-up at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, and only 3 top 10 finishes. This team is underperforming severely, and I wish it were better for Daniel Suarez, but unfortunately, his days at Trackhouse are over, most likely because of his lackluster performance. So here's the full tier list. Let me know down in the comments what you think. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, and I'll catch you in the next one.